Question 110. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Your company plans to take advantage of Azure Active Directory Premium P1. Azure Active Directory Premium P1 also includes advanced identity protection and privileged identity management features. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is, it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. Premium P2 also includes advanced identity protection and privileged identity management features in Azure Active Directory Premium P21, but not in Premium P1. Premium P1, Azure Active Directory Premium Edition adds feature-rich, enterprise-level identity management capabilities to help organizations need more demanding identity and access management, with on-premises capabilities and the cloud for hybrid users. This addition includes everything that information workers and identity administrators in a hybrid environment need for application access in the cloud, self-service identity access management and security. Premium P2, Azure Active Directory Premium P2 includes all the features of all other Azure Active Directory editions, as well as advanced identity protection and privileged identity management features. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Azure SQL Database allows users to perform patch management of database software. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is, it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. Azure SQL Database is a database PaaS platform provided as managed service. Here, the underlying infrastructure is fully managed by Azure. Therefore, the user cannot manage the infrastructure and database software themselves. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. A database hosted on the virtual machine allows the user to perform patch management of the database software. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is, it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. A database hosted on the virtual machine allows the user to perform patch management of the database software. This is because the user installs the software on the virtual machine and uses it as a database. The management of the database software itself is left to the user. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. In your application, sufficient redundancy is required to access services on the virtual machines, maintaining access even if one data center goes down. To achieve this, you should use a skill set to deploy a set of virtual machines in a single availability zone. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is, it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. The Azure Virtual Machine skill set allows you to create and manage groups of the same load balancing VMs. Based on this group, you can automatically increase or decrease the number of VM instances according to demand or a defined schedule. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Redundancy is required to maintain access to services on virtual machines, even in the event that one AZ goes down. For this, you should use a skill set to deploy a set of virtual machines in multiple availability zones. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is, it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. Redundancy to access services on virtual machines even if one AZ goes down requires deploying applications to multiple AZs. You can then use the skill sets to set virtual machines in multiple availability zones. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true, otherwise select no. Redundancy is required so that access to your services on your virtual machines is maintained, even in the event that one region goes down. For this, you should deploy a set of virtual machines in 2 or more availability zones. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is, it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. In order to prevent the application from stopping even if one region stops, it is necessary to deploy the application to multiple regions. A configuration using multiple AZs is only a stable application within one region. So, it will be vulnerable if the region itself is stopped due to a natural disaster. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true, otherwise select no. Redundancy is required to access services on your virtual machines, even in the event that one region were to go down. Deploying a set of virtual machines in 2 or more regions with the appropriate traffic configuration will maintain the access. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. VMs can be deployed in 1 or more regions for high availability of applications. High availability is achieved by deploying VMs using 2 regions. During normal operation, network traffic is routed to the primary region. If the primary region becomes unavailable, traffic will be routed to the secondary region. Next question. What do you call the factor that allows an application to take less time to complete an action and also wait less time for next subsequent processing to begin? And the options are 1. Fault tolerant, 2. Disaster recovery, 3. Low latency, 4. Scalability. And the correct answer is option 3. Low latency. Explanation. Option 3 is the correct answer. Low latency is when an application completes in less time and does not have to wait for subsequent processing processes. Option 1 is incorrect. Fault tolerance is a design method that keeps the function even if a failure occurs. Option 2 is incorrect. Disaster recovery is a set of policies, tools, and procedures that enable the recovery or continuation of critical technology infrastructure and systems after a natural or man-made disaster. Option 4 is incorrect. This is the degree to which you can flexibly respond to changes in scale, such as system uses. Next question. You want to develop a web application hosted on a virtual machine. This application needs to store petabytes of data and requires complex queries across the data. Which service should you use? And the options are 1. Azure Cosmos DB, 2. Azure SQL Database, 3. Azure Synapse, 4. A storage account. And the correct answer is option 3. Azure Synapse. Explanation. Option 3 is the correct answer. You can use Azure Synapse to perform complex queries across your data. Azure Synapse is an enterprise analytics service that speeds the time to retrieve analytics across data warehouses and big data systems. Option 1 is incorrect. Azure Cosmos DB is a fully managed NoSQL database service for modern app development, unable to execute SQL. Option 2 is incorrect. Azure SQL Database is a fully managed platform as a service that handles most database management functions such as upgrades, patching, backups, and monitoring without user involvement. It's usually used as a relational database that uses SQL, but Azure Synapse is used to execute complex queries on the entire data like this time. Option 4 is incorrect. A storage account is a storage service that provides a unique namespace for Azure storage data that can be accessed from anywhere in the world over HTTP or HTTPS. Since it is used as storage, it is not a service for executing SQL. Next question. You want to develop a web application hosted on a virtual machine. You have started deploying Azure virtual machines to Azure. Where in the Azure portal will you be notified when the deployment is complete? And the options are 1. Alarm section, 2. My account, 3. Navigate section, 4. Notification section. And the correct answer is option 4. Notification section. Explanation. Option 4 is the correct answer. You will be notified in the notification section of the Azure portal when the deployment is complete. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true, otherwise select no. You are deploying 4 virtual machines on Azure. The virtual machines host your web application. To improve this application's availability, you should configure a VPN gateway on your virtual machine. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. The VPN gateway is used to create a virtual private connection between your on-premises data center and your Azure network. This cannot be used to improve application availability. VPN gateways are a certain type of virtual network gateways that are used to send encrypted traffic between your Azure virtual network and your on-premises location over the public internet. You can also use a VPN gateway to send encrypted traffic between your Azure virtual networks over your Microsoft network. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true, otherwise select no. You are deploying 4 virtual machines on Azure. These virtual machines host your web application. To improve the application's availability, you should configure an Azure load balancer on your virtual machines. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. You can increase the availability of your application by adding Azure Load Balancer to your architecture. Azure Load Balancer is a layer 4 load balancer that provides high availability by distributing incoming traffic to healthy VMs. The load balancer health probe monitors specific ports on each VM and distributes traffic only to running VMs. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true, otherwise select no. You are deploying 4 virtual machines on Azure. These virtual machines host your web application. To improve the application's availability, you should configure scale sets for the virtual machines. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. You can increase the availability of your application by adding virtual machines to the virtual machine scale sets. Virtual machine scale sets allows you to create and manage groups of load balanced VMs. You can automatically increase or decrease the number of VM instances according to demand or a defined schedule. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true, otherwise select no. Azure AD has the ability to implement authorization using Azure RBAC to protect resources. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. Use Azure AD role-based access control to manage access to Azure AD resources. Choose from a variety of built-in roles or customize the role to suit your business needs. Azure Role-Based Access Control is an authorization process used to manage who can access Azure resources, what they can do for those resources, and how much space they can access. Azure RBAC is an authorization system built on top of Azure Resource Manager that gives you fine-grained control over access to your Azure resources. Question 125. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. You can formulate a password setting policy for Azure AD. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. Azure Active Directory can manage self-service password resets, multi-factor authentication, forbidden password list, and smart lockouts. Azure Active Directory has password policies that define settings such as password complexity, length, and lifetime. There are also policies that define the characters and lengths that can be used in usernames. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. You can perform user management using Azure AD. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. Azure Active Directory is a cloud-based identity and access management service provided by Microsoft. Azure Active Directory allows you to use groups to manage access to cloud-based apps, on-premises apps, and resources. Resources can be part of an Azure AD organization, such as permissions to manage objects using roles in Azure AD, and software as a service apps. Azure Services, SharePoint size, it can be an external resource in your Azure AD organization, like an on-premises resource. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. You can manage devices using Azure AD features. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. Azure Active Directory manages how cloud or on-premises devices access your company's data. Register your device ID and provide a centralized place to manage it. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. You can set log alerts using Azure AD features. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. Log alerts are not a feature of Azure Active Directory. Log alerts are one of the types of alerts supported by Azure Alerts. Log alerts allow users to use log analytics queries to evaluate resource logs at a set frequency and issue alerts based on the results. You can use action groups to trigger one or more actions based on a rule. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. You can use Microsoft Active Directory to set permissions by dividing users into groups and setting permissions. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. Azure Active Directory enables identity management and security with single sign-on and multi-factor authentication. However, it is not possible to divide users into groups and grant permissions. To divide users into groups and set permissions on a per-group basis, it is recommended that you take advantage of managed group or Azure role-based access management controls. Next question. Which of the following is the correct description of an Azure policy initiative? And the options are: 1. Custom design policies are called policy initiatives. 2. Policy definitions set in Azure resource group. 3. It is the functions to group several Azure policies. 4. It is another name for Azure policy definition. And the correct answer is option 3. It is the functions to group several Azure policies. Explanation. Option 3 is the correct answer. Azure policy compares the properties of resources in Azure with business rules and evaluates those resources. These business rules written in JSON format are called policy definitions. For ease of management, you can group multiple business rules into policy initiatives, also known as policy sets. Initiative enables you to group several related policy definitions to simplify assignments and management because you work with a group as a single item. For example, you can group related tagging policy definitions into a single initiative. Rather than assigning each policy individually, you apply the initiative. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. When you migrate your on-premises servers to Azure virtual machines, replacing failed hardware becomes your responsibility. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. Azure Virtual Machine is a service that provides a virtual server via the cloud, and Azure Virtual Machines are an infrastructure as a service solution that allows users to control the OS set on the virtual server. IaaS solutions give users more control over their virtual machine environment to customize their hosting or development environment. Cloud providers provide physical hardware resources such as servers, storage, and networks. From this point, the cloud provider will be responsible for replacing physical hardware and security measures for physical servers. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Azure Logic Apps is a serverless solution for running code. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. Azure Logic Apps is not a code execution solution. With Azure Logic Apps, you can create workflows with predefined logic blocks. You can use a visual designer and choose from pre-built actions to quickly build workflows that integrate and manage your apps, data, services, and systems. It is Azure Functions that allows you to run your application with code based on almost any modern language. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Azure Logic Apps can build stateful serverless applications. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. When generating workflows in Azure Logic App, you can include multiple stateful and stateless workflows in one Logic App. If you need to persist, check, or reference data from previous events, you should create a stateful workflow. A stateful is a state method in which the application retains the data that is the current state and reflects it in its processes. Stateless is a state-based approach in which the application doesn't retain any data or other information that makes up the current state of the application. Azure Functions also allows you to create both stateless or stateful applications. A stateless application behaves as if it were restarted each time it responded to an event. Stateful applications, called durable functions, pass context to functions so as to keep track of previous activity. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Azure Functions are a serverless solution for creating functions. These functions only work in the cloud. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. Azure Functions lets you develop and test functions from a command prompt or terminal on your local computer by using the Azure Functions core tools. Functions that run locally can connect to Azure services, so you can debug them on your local computer using the full functions runtime. Next question. You are planning to build a web application on Azure. As a prerequisite for this application, it is necessary to install certain middleware and software. Which cloud service model is better? And the options are 1. Platform as a service, 2. Software as a service, 3. Infrastructure as a service, 4. Serverless model. And the correct answer is option 3. Infrastructure as a service. Explanation. Option 3 is the correct answer. The ability to install specific middleware and software is a feature of infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service is a cloud format that allows you to use the necessary hardware over the network when using servers, etc. IaaS allows users to log in to the server and customize things such as the OS settings and software installation. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. When data is stored in an Azure storage account, it is always automatically copied 3 times to different Azure data centers. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's no. Explanation. The correct answer is no. Redundant storage in Azure has a primary reason application function. Data is replicated 3 times within one data center when using locally redundant storage. Therefore, locally redundant storage never copies data to another data center. Data in an Azure storage account is always replicated 3 times in the primary region, depending on the storage type. Locally redundant storage copies your data synchronously 3 times within a single physical location in the primary region. LRS is the least expensive replication option, but isn't recommended for applications that require high availability or durability. Zone redundant storage copies your data synchronously across 3 Azure availability zones in the primary region. For applications requiring high availability, Microsoft recommends using ZRS in the primary region and also replicating to a secondary region. Next question. What do you need to create before you can create a new file share from the Azure portal? And the options are 1. Azure Migrate, 2. Storage account, 3. Resource group, 4. Azure Data Box. And the correct answer is option 2. Storage account. Explanation. Option 2 is the correct answer. You can use Azure Files to generate a standard file share or a premium file share. To use Azure Files, you first need to create a storage account. You can mount and use file shares as network drives from Windows, Linux, and Mac OS clients. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Once an Azure service in preview becomes generally available, no new features will be added to that service. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's no. Explanation. No is the correct answer. Once an Azure service is generally available, new features may be added when that service is updated. Each Azure service is constantly evolving, such as new technologies and collaboration with other services, and new functions are updated as needed. Next question. Select yes if the following statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Azure Advisor can identify underutilized or unused Azure virtual machines. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. The correct answer is yes. Azure Advisor checks whether resources are being used appropriately and provides cost efficiency advice. Azure Advisor evaluates underutilized or unused Azure virtual machines and recommends specific actions. Azure Advisor evaluates a virtual machine's CPU utilization and network throughput over time to check whether resources are being used appropriately. Azure Advisor recommends decommissioning, resizing, or shutting down machines to meet cost requirements. Thank you for watching this video. Buy our AZ 900 premium questions with 50% off. Check link in the description.